So I'm just going to say welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living on this lovely Sunday, first Sunday in November. And just welcome. I have this wonderful song that I'd like to kick us off with, and it goes very well. It's Faith Rivera, and she's talking about called to be. And I thought it was perfect for today's talk, because what are we called to be? And all things, all things that we're called to be, are just such a gift, and they change as we move through our lives. That it's not always the same. I'm sorry, I'm looking for the right. There we go. And I'm just going to share the sound on this one because it's not a video or anything, but it's a lovely, she's one of my favorites. So I hope you enjoy her too. Okay, now I got it. Here we go.
I am called to be a healer for all humanity. I am called to be a dreamer, believe in what can be. I am called to be a maker, be an instrument of peace. I am called to be a giver, of abundance I receive. I am called to be a prayer, living out the truth I see. I am called to be everything. I am called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth so all might see. All the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. I am the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be. You are called to be a mother, to nurture family. You are called to be a brother, be strength in times of need. You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a player, living out the truth you see. You are called to be everything. You are called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth so all might see. All the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. You are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be. We are called to be the kindness, set the brokenhearted free. We are called to be forgiveness, where pain has run too deep. We are called to be compassion, be the wind beneath each wing. We are called to make communion, only then can we succeed. We are called to be a prayer, living out the truth we seek. We are called to be everything. We are called to be. Called to be the glory here on earth so all might see. All the love and all the beauty that shines in you and me. We are the living, breathing God, and you are one in me. We're called to be peace, called to be joy, called to be love.
Called to be. We're called to be human. We're called to be divinely human. I just love that song. So I would like to, Ralane, thank you for doing practitioner duty 2 Sundays in a row. I really appreciate it. We had an extra Sunday in October, and so thank you. I'm going to invite you to do our opening prayer for us, please.
All right. So let's just relax and close our eyes and feel the presence of spirit. You know, we're really feeling it up here in Oregon, and we had some beautiful light rain. All the we get the changing seasons up here, so there's so many gold and red leaves, and just the beauty of fall is just all around us. And this is the presence of spirit. In Hebrew, there's the word ruach, which means the wind, breath, spirit, and nature all is one. All in one motion, all in one feeling, all in one expression, just a oneness of all that is. And that's with us here in this moment. We are just one. And it's so beautiful to do prayer after such wonderful music. And I just know that this service is really great, and I'm very excited about it. And I feel that excitement that's radiating in and of and through each and every one of us. And so I know everything's perfect. We love our neighbors, we love ourselves, we love our lives. Everything is good. I'm so grateful. And I release this prayer into divine law, knowing it is so. And so it is. I had to throw in the love thy neighbors. Okay, so I'm going to read a story. I'm not going to paraphrase it because it's really just perfect the way it is. And it really fits in with the mundane, which is one of my favorite topics, actually. And I call this... the article is called Tiny New Neighbors. Funny, it's about neighbors again. But I like to call it a magic and mystery in the mundane. Don Powell was pulling the usual assortment of envelopes from the mailbox outside his home in Orchard Lake Village, Michigan, when he noticed something special out of the ordinary. A tiny doll couple were sitting on a love seat inside his mailbox. A small sticky note was also tucked inside. The note said, "We've decided to live here." It was signed Mary and Shelley. The man Powell, whose home it was, a mailbox, says he initially figured that somebody must have left the wooden dolls inside the mailbox by mistake. He and his wife, Nancy, had a custom-designed mailbox resembling their contemporary white house installed about 4 years ago. We could understand why dolls would want to move into such a nice mailbox, but we were still perplexed. I asked the neighbors whether anyone had left dolls in their mailboxes, and everyone told me no. So I thought this must just be a joke, and whoever left them there will come back and get them. I moved them back into the mailbox to see what would happen. A few days passed and nobody retrieved the dolls, he says, noting that he and his wife soon discovered that the small couple had acquired an end table, a throw rug, and a pillow. I also have a sense of humor, said Dawn, so I left a note of my own saying what the home really needs was a refrigerator stocked with food. He says, the fridge never delivered. But over the next several months, additional items mysteriously showed up. A 4-poster bed, a painting, and a wood-burning stove, to name a few. More than a year later, Mary and Shelley are still living rent-free in the mailbox, to the delight of neighbors who now follow Dawn's updates on Orchard Lake Village Next Door's page. Dawn first posted about the tiny squatters on August 21st, 2022, hoping that might solve the mystery. A homeless couple has taken up residence in our mailbox. I have included photos of what it all looks like, so you don't think I'm making any of this up. Some people initially thought that I had planted the dolls myself, but that is definitely not the case, Don says. All I did was provide a mailbox. Somebody else decided to make it into a home for Mary and Shelley. Nancy Powell says she can vouch for her husband. It was honestly a surprise to us. Don is a kind of person to play along with it. The Powell's next door neighbor says he believes that Don did not move the dolls into the mailbox himself. It's just somebody out there who's having a little fun, giving us a little community humor. Whoever is doing this, obviously someone who's incredibly artistic and clever, the neighbor says, and Don has a lot of skill sets, but doing something this detailed with dolls is not his forte. After Don and Nancy moved into their home in Orchard Lake about 5 years ago, they decided to pay a local craftsman $250 to design a mailbox resembling their house, with lots of windows on top and sides to let the light in. The interior is roomy, measuring 26 inches, 15 inches wide, 10 inches high, and it has solar-powered ceiling lights to illuminate the mailbox at night. So pretty fancy. Although a person can be fined up to $5,000 for putting items without postage into someone else's mailbox, Don says he could not imagine alerting the authorities and evicting the dolls. I asked our mail carrier if there would be a problem delivering our mail with the dolls in there, and he told me no, there's plenty of room. He said that he got a kick out of seeing what was going on inside my mailbox every day. Every month or two, particularly around the holidays, the pals find something new tucked inside the box for Mary and Shelley. For Halloween 2022, the doll couple temporarily disappeared and were replaced by 2 small skeletons, he says. At Christmas time, a decorated tree was left with tiny presents. Don says whoever left the gifts took them back right after Christmas before he had time to open the boxes to see if there's anything in there. The doll couple has also acquired a cat, he says. It's getting a little crowded, especially because their cousin Shirley has also moved in, along with a service dog named Maggie, Don says. The note left in the mailbox said they are all grateful to find a 1-story house because they'd previously lived in a Dutch-style dollhouse. I'm assuming that place had more stairs. After packages were left for the holidays, Don says he left a tiny addition of his own outside the mailbox, a miniature letterbox. I decided it made sense to give them one since their tiny letters were getting mixed up with ours and they could get lost in the mail. Don says he now doesn't want to know who is responsible for the mailbox saga because he's hoping it will continue. People in the neighborhood are enjoying it and stop by to ask questions, he says. They want to know what we're charging for rent and who mows the lawn. Some people ask if I thought about installing an outdoor camera, but personally, I like the mystery of it all. So I thought that was a perfect article for today about the specialness and the magic and the spirit of the mundane and the joy.
It's perfect and just so you really got a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, I couldn't have read it better than the story was written.
It's perfect.
November's affirmation. I am always abundantly, magnificently supplied by spirit with every single thing I can imagine. I give freely of my time, treasures, creativity, joy, and love. I am grateful for the law of circulation, and I reside in the divine flow. And this is from Deborah Purdue.
One of her many gratitude books. I don't remember which one, but she has some lovely things in there. Wow. Well, it's kind of hard to follow that story, Ralane. It's a great story. I was kind of waiting on the edge of my seat to see who it was, but I'm kind of glad I don't know. It's pretty cool. What a great song. I love that. All right. Well, I have some more music. Let me, oops, I think I need to make sure I have it up here first to get rid of the affirmation. And this is Daniel Nahmad, who I just adore. You know, he lives not too far from us. I've been up to a couple of his little workshops. I think I'd like to do it again. He's so great. Anyway, here he is. He's talking about constant is my soul, which is sort of the reason I picked that is because in our humanness, there is that constant that's underneath. That's our soul, the divinity within us. Here we go.
The weather The waves, the cliffs, the caves, the mountains, changing every day. The seasons, the clouds, the stars come out each night in a slightly different way. Oh, what do I know? Constant is my soul, constant is the sun, constant is the love of the one. I can feel my heart beating like a drum. One mystery ends and another's begun. I'm watching the world spin beyond my control. Constant is my soul. The vision, the hope, the life I've known could be gone. Everything changes by the day. Changes by the aches, the pains, the dreams down the drain again, leaving darkness in their wake. Oh, what do I see? Constant is my soul, constant is the sun, constant is the love of the one. I can feel my heart beating like a drum. One mystery ends and another's begun. Watching the world spin beyond my control. Constant is my soul. Constant is the sun, constant is the love of the one. I can feel my heart beating like a drum. One mystery ends and another's begun. Constant is my soul, constant is the sun, constant is the love. Constant is my soul, constant is my soul, constant is my soul. Constant is my soul, constant is my soul.
Constant is our soul. We're really all one. So I hope you enjoyed that. I love his upbeat music and his certainty that we are always in God. Love that about him. So I want to say good morning again. Good morning and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. And I always like to say, whether we're in real time or replay, that you are welcome here and that we're just so glad you connect, however that looks, looks for you. So because we celebrate Thanksgiving in November, typically our focus in November is on gratitude, how to live a life of gratitude, which has so many benefits and sheer joys. And gratitude kind of takes us out of that funk of complaining about all the little daily inconveniences we might encounter, and it opens us up to embrace everything as it is, without judgment or disappointment or expectation. I was going on and on complaining about my neighbors earlier. So I'm just going to be in gratitude about that. When we went into the meditation, kind of changed my attitude about it, because it's really impossible to be on a funk if you're in the vibration of gratitude. And we notice that no matter what comes our way, God's good is embedded in it. When we're in gratitude, even if the good is just pointing us in a new direction and guiding us, gratitude just opens us up. When we're steeped in gratitude, our hearts are open wide, and we really feel the presence of Spirit, God, the all that is, whatever name you feel comfortable with. And we can see it and feel it in every aspect of our lives, even the mundane, which we're talking about tomorrow, and even the sacred, and even the profane. And of course, today's message is God in the mundane. And according to dictionary.com, the mundane is anything that has to do with the earthly realm, the visible realm, in contrast to the heavenly realm or the invisible realm, I would say consciousness. So God in the mundane is seeing God infused in everything in our world, even in the regular mundane things that we have to do because we're human beings, like groom our bodies, make our beds, wash the dishes, go to the grocery store, take out the trash. You get the idea. I thought about this as I was putting together today's message. And I have to confess that sometimes when I'm preparing my Sunday message, which truly, and I know Rob and I have both said this before, and it's certainly true for me, writing my Sunday message is really a spiritual practice for me, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity that it gives me. It kind of requires me to dive deeply into a topic and to explore all kinds of different sources. It's definitely the practice of spiritual study. But once in a while, I think about that verse from the Tao Te Ching. It's actually verse 56, and it begins like this. It says, those who know don't talk, and those that talk don't know. It kind of makes me pause and ask myself, what do I really have to say? And why should anyone listen to me? And it's a good question because it really keeps me honest and it keeps me humble. And it kind of helps me to engage with that conundrum as a minister, because I'm kind of in the word business. And yet I realize that if I'm going to have anything meaningful to say at all, that I have to be in the divine part of me that does know and doesn't speak, and also in the human part of me that really doesn't know and has to speak. It's kind of funny, actually. It's a little humorous. It's sort of like patting your head and rubbing your tummy. Remember that childhood trick? And the truth is, I'm just like you, and we're all living these human lives, and as human beings, we live both a divine life and a human life at the same time. And we all have to learn how to pat our heads and rub our tummies, and we're all doing the very best we can to live meaningful lives, filled with peace and compassion and love and joy. And all these aspects of the divine that we've come together to explore, they're things that are kind of difficult to put into words. So we end up trying to wrap our rational, intellectual, and objective minds around things that are really matters of the heart, that are so much more subjective. Truth is, I don't know any more or any less than you do, but it does really bring me great joy to kind of open my soul right here in front of you in our community, and ask you to do the same, so that we can kind of navigate this human journey thing together, knowing and trusting that we're all just individualized expressions of the one, and we're each just uniquely finding our way as we go, with a little help from our friends. We're all just learning to listen and feel our way through our human lives. And it goes best with an open heart and with a connection to spirit. I like to say that we're learning to let our divinity inform our humanity. And that really is what we're doing as we live our spiritual lives. And as we grow up as children, we spend a lot of time trying to figure out who we are. And our very well-meaning parents and grandparents and teachers and ministers do their very best to help us kind of figure out just who that is. And all the while, they're still kind of figuring out for themselves too. So, it's a lifelong journey, and we're always changing, growing, expanding. But I was listening to this audio YouTube video of Ram Dass, the Be Here Now guy. I'm sure you know who he is. And he said something that I found kind of comical almost. He said that when he was born, just like all of us, he went into somebody training. He said his parents were somebody, and he set out to make him somebody too. And then he goes on to say that he did. He developed his somebodyness, that he began to know who he was, or at least who he thought he was. And he developed ideas about who he thought he was. He also developed ideas about who he thought everybody else was and how everything worked. And here's the part that I thought was kind of funny. He said that he worked so hard at being somebody that other people would come up to him and say, wow, you really are somebody. And he used that as validation that he really was somebody. But then he went on to say in this same audio that that the issue with our human somebodyness is that it's developed from the outside in. And as I said, we're all trained by our well-meaning parents and educators and culture to do the right things, to be that somebody that we've come to believe that we're here to be. But the challenge is that outside somebody, that somebody that the world tells us we are, doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always feel right to be that somebody that's defined by the outside world. So I'll give you an example. So I was raised Catholic, and my mom and my sister, they fit right into that Catholic somebody, but it just never fit me right. It felt like a coat that was too big, and I tried to make this oversized coat fit, that somebody who I thought I was supposed to be fit, it just never felt right. And it always felt awkward and uncomfortable. And I began to feel kind of guilty because that somebody didn't fit me. And I looked at them and they fit them so well. And I truly thought that there was something wrong with me. Now I'm using the example of religion, but it could be anything: gender identity, sexual orientation, some specific occupation that your somebody was supposed to be, whatever it is you're trying to be from the inside out, and that just doesn't feel right to you on the inside. Truth is, we're not here to let the outside world define who we are. We are already these magnificent somebodies when we arrive. We come into this human life as this remarkable, magnificent spiritual somebody already. And our discomfort with how the outside world defines us, with that somebody that doesn't quite fit, it's simply guiding us towards being the divine somebody that we already are, and that we're here to express through our humanness, to bring God into the mundane in all the moments of our human lives. Now, sometimes when we realize that we're already a magnificent somebody, a magnificent spiritual somebody, we jump into exploring our relationship with this divine somebody, and we attempt to try to get rid of the human somebody, or at least quiet it down just a little bit. And we jump into our spiritual practices wholeheartedly, and we practice our connection to our divine somebody. And that is absolutely the right place to start. And then we continue to practice as we move forward. And, we do all the regular stuff. We practice meditation and affirmative prayer. We use spiritual study. I was just talking about that, to inspire us and support us, and thinking more deeply and opening our hearts to connect with that divine presence within us. We practice conscious giving, and we practice sacred service to help connect us with the magnificence of our human brothers and sisters, and with the natural world all around us. We plunge into the divine presence with all our heart and soul, and it feels so good. We nurture that intimate and personal connection. It's wonderful. And we may even have some peak experiences, as Abraham Maslow called them, when we feel our humanness just quiet down to such a degree that we can just hear our divinity, spirit singing to us. It's quite the divine buzz, and it just feels so good. And then we move back into our daily lives. and that guy cuts us off in the freeway, or we see the pain and the suffering of the homeless people on the streets, or our partner leaves us, or someone dies, or war breaks out, or our dog gets sick. Life in physical reality happens. It just does. And suddenly that divine buzz becomes more like a big human bummer. And we begin to realize that the divine buzz is just another kind of somebody that we are. And we probably won't always be able to maintain that in every moment in our humanness. And we begin to realize that it's very unrealistic to be on that divine high all the time, because being human has some inherent discomforts woven into it. And so we ask the question, is there a way to be both our divine somebody and our human somebody at the same time, and to live a life of peace and contentment and prosperity and love and joy? And of course, the answer is yes. We can embrace our humanness from the divine perspective. We may not always be in the middle of one of those peak experiences that Abraham Maslow talked about, but we can allow the divine somebody to express through our human somebody, to live so grounded in our divinity that it is truly woven into the mundane of our everyday human experiences, even those experiences that may feel uncomfortable. And we come to know that it's possible to embrace all of our human experiences as they come, without having to suffer. Because while discomfort and pain may be a part of our human lives, suffering doesn't have to be. It comes down to cultivating a balance between our humanness and our divinity, and honoring the entire human experience, the entire journey from birth to death and everything in between. When my mother was alive, near the end of her human life, when she lived here by me in Escondido, I'd pick her up every Sunday and I'd bring her to church with me. Many of you got to know her during this time. And then after the service, we'd spend the rest of Sunday together. I'd bring her back to the house and we'd play games. We played, what's that game we used to always play? Bananagrams. We played Bananagrams all the time. It was so fun. And we'd have dinner. We'd spend the whole day together. And invariably, at some point during the day, remember, she had dementia. She didn't remember that she always brought this up. And she'd look down at her hands. I think I've told this story before, but that's okay. And she'd say, "Look at these hands. They're so old and wrinkled and spotted. How did they get so old?" And then she'd start to lament about her age and the lost years and on and on. And I'd take her hands and I'd look her right in the eye and I'd say, "Don't you dare talk smack about my mommy's hands. Don't you dare talk smack about them. These hands have cooked countless meals for their family. These hands have held and embraced their children and their grandchildren and even their great-grandchildren. These hands have soothed sick children and fevered brows and planted gardens and swept floors and painted pictures and have done untold loads of laundries, all in the name of love. So don't you dare talk badly about these hands." And she'd always smile and she'd give me a hug and she'd say, "Oh, you're right, you're right." And now I look down at my hands and I see the wrinkles and the spots and the age, and I have to smile because the same is true for me. Makes me cry. We're here to be the beauty and the love of God and the magnificence of the divine in all of the mundane activities of our human lives. And to see that this is truly how we live a spiritual life. This is how we do it. We honor all the little stuff. Most, not all, but most of the spiritual practices that spiritual traditions teach are designed to help us move out of the illusion of separation, the illusion that we are somehow separate from our source. And I believe it's wildly important for us not only to understand, but to feel our oneness with spirit, and to understand that because of our oneness, we're empowered to participate with it through creative law, through its creative nature, which of course is our nature. But I've come to believe that it is equally as important to value and honor the reality of our physical lives, of our human bodies, of our humanness, and that we're here having a human experience. And so it must be valuable. It really is about nurturing a powerful balance between our divinity and our humanity. It truly is about bringing God into its creation. We're its creation. Life is its creation. In human form, it's its creation. There's that funny, I'm sure you've heard this story before. It's always a Zen story, right? It's a funny story about a Zen student who's talking to his Zen master, and the student asks his teacher, how long will it be until I reach enlightenment? And the master looks at him and says, well, if you meditate 4 hours a day, perhaps you'll transcend in 10 years. Thinking he could do better, the student says, what if I meditated 8 hours a day? Then how long will it take me to transcend? And the master looks at him again and says, well, if you meditate 8 hours a day, perhaps you will transcend in 20 years. And then the student asks, but why will it take me so much longer if I meditate more? And the master replies, you're not here to sacrifice your joy or your life. You're here to live, to be happy, and to love. If you can do your best in 2 hours of meditation, but you spend 8 hours instead, you're going to grow tired. You'll miss the point. You'll miss the point. And you won't even enjoy life. And to me, the takeaway for that is that this life is valuable and precious. We're these precious expressions of God. We got to give it our all. And the same time, in the same breath, we have to know that we're infinite, that we're these eternal beings, these expressions of the divine. And this is just a blip on the map of eternity, and we will move on. And that really kind of rang true for me yesterday when we were at Tom Sanders Memorial. This is just a blip on the map. Let's make the best of it. Let's bring the divine into everything. On that same audio recording I was telling you about from Ram Dass, he said something else that kind of really struck me. He said that the object of life, of our human incarnations, isn't just to get high on our divinity. It's to be free. And I think that's such an important point. And he went on to say that for so long, he thought if he fasted long enough or prayed hard enough or meditated long enough, that he would correct the error of his humanity. And then he would just be divine. Until he realized that the purpose of life is to be free. And I love this. And this is brilliant, I think. He said that our freedom comes through our humanity, not in spite of it. Isn't that brilliant? And then he went on to say that to be free means that you don't stand everywhere. And he went on to explain that, and I was kind of glad he did, because I didn't really understand what he meant at first. But what he meant was, when he said we don't stand anywhere, is that we don't stand in heaven and look down on earth, and we don't stand on earth and look up at heaven. We don't stand anywhere. Or we could say, and I think this is a more sides of mind way to say it, we stand everywhere. Then we're free. Whether we're in a human body or not, we know that we're eternal beings, and we stand everywhere. We stand in God. And our human journey is not about pushing away our bodies or our personalities or anything else that we define our human lives by, but to stand on the ground of our oneness and allow our divinity to express through our humanity in its unique and marvelous way. And then our human journey becomes discovering how to live our lives in a balanced way, to continually deepen in our connection in our oneness to the reality of God, of universal mind, and then at the same time to function within this physical world and to do as Jesus advised, to be in the world, but not of the world. And, you know, at least this is true for me. Once I start to cultivate the ability to always stand on the ground of that oneness, to recognize that I don't really stand anywhere, I stand everywhere, then I can play in the beauty of the world of form, you know, that's on full display around us. I mean, this world's gorgeous, sometimes uncomfortable, but really beautiful and so full of gifts. And I really think that once we see everything from the perspective of our oneness, it kind of loosens the power that the outside world has over us to some degree. You know what I mean? It's that lead us not into temptation, a line that we don't think that the world of effect gets the last word, because it doesn't. It's just an effect. Not that we're not going to feel our human emotions around whatever comes up. We will. But we begin to see them within the larger context of life. You know what I mean? From our oneness rather than our separateness. And so for me, trying to balance my divinity and my humanity means that I learn to live from the fullness of my divinity and to be in integrity, that my beliefs match my words and my thoughts and my actions in the world. And at the same time, I honor my human incarnation so that I can be free in human form, not in spite of being in human form. Does that make sense? Our freedom rises from our honoring our experience and form, and at the same time, understanding and feeling our oneness with God. I don't know, anyway, for me, that makes this human life much more purposeful and meaningful and joyful. It makes it joyful. I'm so glad to be here experiencing it every day. And I think that it's an important point to be able to honor the entire experience that our being is having, our divinity and our humanness. So with that, let's just do a little prayer. Let's move into knowing that God is absolutely all there is, that we stand everywhere because God is everywhere and we are in God. We are one with God. We are God. I know that might sound sacrilegious, but it's true. We are that presence, that isness. So I know that as we understand, as we feel and embrace our oneness to the power and presence of the divine, that we express it everywhere in our lives. So I speak my word for each and every person that is on this call and for each and every person that is not. I speak my word for our entire human family and for all life on this beautiful blue planet that we walk around on and spins through space, or any life that is in the entire universe, that there is a knowing, that there is a new knowing and a new way of being that is informed and driven and blessed and expressed and experienced from God, from the all that is, and from all the beautiful aspects of the divine that we know are within us and within all life. Beauty, intelligence, order, prosperity, abundance, vitality, health, joy. And I know that for all of us right here, right now, and I just give great thanks. I know it's all making its way into demonstration as we speak these powerful words. And we know together in great gratitude that it's already so. It's already so in God, and it is making its way into our humanness. And for this, I say thank you. I allow it to be. And we say together, and so it is. And so it is. I was telling Colleen that she picked the right day to come because we were talking about God in the daily. And that is really what I've been thinking about all week. So And it's so true, you know, it used to be, and maybe this is true for you, and we can talk about it afterwards, that I used to think that somehow or another there was something wrong with my humanness. And now I realize there's not a darn thing wrong with my humanness. It is absolutely perfect. So, so there we go. So I am going to, and I believe it's you, Lisa. Are you doing?
Yes, it is.
Bless your sweetheart.
Yes.
Let me
Yes,
see.
it's our time to look at giving to the center. And I was thinking about that in terms of also this November and the concept of gratitude, and that we tend to be grateful for the things that we have received, which I think is important when we talk about where we get our spiritual food. And then the other is the gratitude for the things that are to be, that come from our science of mind treatment, where we focus on the reality of that it already exists and it's coming to us. So anyway, these are the ways you can contribute. You can either use Venmo, which is really easy once you plug in, or you can mail a check to One Heart, One Mind at Valley Parkway. The address is on the screen. And so now we can do that and say together, everything flows from the nature of God's good.
That's good.
We receive from this flow. We give from this flow. We give in gratitude and in love. We have faith in the infinite giving nature of spirit. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you. That was beautiful. We'll come back to you for the benediction in a minute. Right now, we're going to Yvonne. She has
Ta-da! This is what's going on this week, Monday evening prayer group. You can join us on Zoom from 6 o'clock to 6:20, and we will pray silently together for our center and also for world peace.
Yeah.
Tuesday evening, we have this spiritual learning circle from 6:30 to 7:30, and we'll be discussing chapter 7 from Mary O'Malley's book, What's in the Way is the Way. And then I just wanted to remind people, if they need to be reminded, that the service for Dr. Sanner yesterday can be seen again virtually for 3 weeks. And all you have to do is go on to our website, or our newsletter, and the information is right there on how to get to it. It was a lovely service.
It really was. And I'll keep that link in there so people can have it, so they don't have to hunt for it.
Perfect. Then Interfaith Thanksgiving service is on Tuesday, November 14th, and you can read all about that in our newsletter.
And I have to interject here because I don't know why I didn't think of this. It's on Tuesday, guys, and I'm a host, so I can't do that. I don't know why. I think it was it you? Somebody yesterday said, "Oh, it's on." Oh, it was Lisa. Lisa and I went to the service together yesterday, and we were talking on the way home, and I went, "Oh, dang, that's right." So on Tuesday, November 14th, we will be skipping the learning circle because your host will be at the Thanksgiving service. So, the service is going to be in Escondido. It should be a really beautiful service in the area. But anyway, sorry about that, Yvonne. Yeah,
that's okay. That's fine. I hope I remember, but I'll figure it out if I don't.
I'll put it in the newsletter.
Okay. And then the other thing I wanted to remind you about is, don't forget about unexpected income. You won't have it if you don't expect it. That's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now, Lisa, I'm coming back to you.
I just have to say, expecting the unexpected is a paradox, which we were doing last month, talking about paradox. So anyway, okay, if we could pull together as one and take a nice centering breath and know that this service has been blessed, and we are blessed by it, and are left with the the joy of remembering that we are both divine and human, and being able to think about the balance in our life in relation to that, and allowing ourselves to enjoy deeply both sides of that paradigm. And so I know that each of us is blessed by the service and blessed by Reverend Michelle's message, and can go forth also looking, as Ralane suggested to us, looking for the mystery and magic in the mundane. And so I know that we are blessed by spirits, and we are united in one wonderful, joyful expression of the one. And I'm grateful that we have this opportunity to be together, to celebrate our union with one another, our union with the presence and power that is always there as a comfort and a joy and a place to go as we look for the individual piece that we can provide to extend that vibration out to a world that is deeply, deeply in need of it. And so I release my word into the law, and I release together with you by saying, and so it is.
So it is. Beautiful, Lisa. Thank you so much.
Yep.
And I'm going to play a song that's a little slower this time. It's called Every Step is Holy, and it's by a New Thought musician called Gary Lynn Floyd. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Here we go.
Every step is holy, every breath is life, every moment precious when held up to the light, every heart connected, each the face of God. Grace has shown me every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every breath is life. Every moment precious when held up to the light. Every heart connected, each the face of God. Grace has shown me every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every breath is life. Every moment precious when held up to the light. Every heart connected, each the face of God. Grace has Every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every step is holy. Every step is holy.
Oh, kind of got lost in that.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. That was kind of a meditation. And you know, and he's right. Every step is holy.